Since I began my work, a lot of people have turned to me and they've asked me in successive communities, what is it precisely that makes the soldier of the Israel Defense Forces distinct from most any other soldier, even in other democratic states? And my answer is very, very straightforward. It's the mindset and the goals that Israeli soldiers assign to themselves at the point of being drafted into the Israel Defense Forces. What do I mean by that? Well, if one looks at a British soldier, or an American soldier, or a French soldier, those soldiers enter the military typically because they wish to be soldiers. Now, the motivation may differ from one soldier to the other. They may join the armed forces because they do so out of a fit of patriotic fervour. They may do so because they wish to prove themselves. They may do so because there are benefits that await them thereafter. College subsidies, so on and so forth. But each individual has a different reason. In the end, however, what unifies those soldiers of other countries is the fact that they wish to be soldiers. Now, the soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces, in the vast majority of cases, are an entirely different animal. The soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces, men and women, because of course both genders serve, are drafted into the Israel Defense Forces. They are conscripted immediately upon graduating from high school, and they enter their service, in the case of the men, 3 years at a time, in the case of the women, 2 years at a time, with one goal that escorts them throughout their service entire, and that is to navigate their way through these years of unimaginable challenge, and to navigate their way through these dilemmas and find themselves at the end of these 3 years returning to being a civilian again. And most importantly, returning to being a civilian again with a clear conscience. Returning to being a civilian again with a clear conscience. A civilian who can look at him or herself in the mirror and say that they acted in a manner that is in keeping with the values of not just the state of Israel, but of all democratic states.